A 5-year-old's hands shouldn't bleed from scrubbing toilets. But that March afternoon, when James Martinez pushed open the bathroom door of his Westchester County mansion, he found his daughter Sophia on her knees, clutching her 3-year-old brother Tommy while scrubbing with raw, bleeding fingers. Standing over them in Louboutin heels was his wife Victoria. Her blonde hair perfect, crimson dress immaculate. "Scrub it with your bare hands." "You filthy creature," Victoria hissed. "And if that brat cries, you'll clean every bathroom tonight." James Martinez had built Martinez Pharmaceuticals into a $9 billion empire. At 48, he commanded boardrooms and shaped medicine's future, but nothing prepared him for watching the woman he'd married torture his children. 3 years ago, his first wife Sarah had died in what was ruled a car accident. Sophia was only 4. For 2 years, James drowned in work. His children needed a mother's love. Victoria entered their lives 18 months ago. Stunning, sophisticated, seemingly wonderful. After a whirlwind romance, they married just 7 months after Sarah's death. But recently, Sophia had changed. Once cheerful, she'd become withdrawn, flinching when James tried to hug her. Her brown eyes, Sarah's eyes, now held shadows no 5-year-old should carry. When he'd asked Victoria, she'd explained Sophia was adjusting. He'd believed her, needed to believe her. That Tuesday morning, James left for Manhattan at 6 a.m., but during his 9 a.m. meeting, something gnawed at him, an inexplicable pull homeward. He left abruptly, made the hour-long drive in 38 minutes. He entered silently. The marble foyer was quiet except for the grandfather clock's ticking. Then he heard it, a whimper, his daughter's whimper. James followed the sound to the guest bathroom. What he saw would haunt him forever. Sophia knelt on cold tile in a faded pink dress, arms trembling as she held Tommy. Her hands were raw and bleeding from harsh chemicals. Dirty water pooled around her. "Shh, Tommy," Sophia whispered through tears. "Please don't cry. She'll get angrier." Victoria stood over them. "Scrub with your bare hands, and if he cries, you'll regret it." Sophia's arms burned from holding Tommy's weight, but she didn't dare set him down. Last time, Victoria had locked him in the closet for an hour. "Please, I can't hold him and clean," Sophia begged. "My arms hurt," Victoria laughed coldly. "You ungrateful parasite. Your pathetic mother is dead. If I hadn't married your father, you'd be in some filthy orphanage." The mention of Sarah, who died 11 months ago, made Sophia's chest tighten with physical pain. James stood paralyzed. Then the ice shattered into white-hot rage. He shoved the door hard. Both Victoria and Sophia startled. "James!" Victoria's voice turned honeyed. Sophia made a mess and I was teaching responsibility. But James had seen everything. As he looked at his daughter's bleeding hands and terror-filled eyes, he knew this wasn't the first time. "Sophia, come here, princess." Sophia hesitated, glanced fearfully at Victoria, then ran to her father. James caught her, feeling how thin she'd become. She buried her face in his neck, sobbing. He took Tommy from her arms. That's when James noticed the bruises on Tommy's arms. Small, finger-shaped, yellowing. Adult grip marks. "How did Tommy get these bruises?" "He's a toddler, James," Victoria laughed. "He bumps into things." But James knew these weren't normal toddler bruises. He looked at Sophia, still kneeling, raw hands clasped. "Sophia, has Victoria hurt you or Tommy?" The 5-year-old's eyes darted to Victoria, whose eyes sent a clear message. "Lie, or Tommy pays." "I was bad, Daddy," Sophia whispered. "Victoria was teaching me." James felt something break inside. His daughter was protecting herself and her brother by accepting blame she didn't deserve. He stood, holding Tommy, and faced his wife. "Victoria, pack a bag and stay at your mother's while I sort this out." Victoria's facade crumbled. "You'll believe a 5-year-old over your wife?" "Get out of my house," James said quietly. "Now, before I call the police." Victoria grabbed her bag and stormed out. "This isn't over!" "You have no proof." The door slammed hard. James knelt and opened his arms. After long moments, Sophia threw herself into his arms, sobbing. Deep, wrenching sobs that shook her small body. James held both children and wept, finally feeling the crushing weight of his failure. He'd been so consumed by grief that he'd abandoned his children to a monster. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I should have protected you. I tried to be good, Daddy. I tried so hard. None of this was your fault. Victoria is bad, and Daddy will make sure she never hurts you again." "She said if I told, she'd hurt Tommy more," Sophia whispered. "I couldn't let her hurt Tommy." James made a silent vow. Nothing would ever again come before his children. But he didn't know this was only the beginning. The truth about Sarah's death and Sophia's extraordinary secret would soon unravel beyond imagination. 3 days later, James watched security footage that made his blood boil. Hidden cameras had documented months of abuse in unbearable detail. His security chief, Roberto, showed him more. Nanny cam footage showing Victoria with Diego Castañeda, a hedge fund manager. They'd been having an affair for 6 months. Roberto turned up the volume. Victoria's voice dripped contempt. "The old fool's so buried in work he notices nothing. 18 more months and I'll own half of Martinez Pharmaceuticals. The prenup nullifies after 2 years. Diego responded, "What about the investigation into the accident?" Victoria laughed. "Please. The brake line investigation went nowhere. Sarah Martinez's tragic death will remain accidental." James felt the room spin. "What did she say?" "I contacted Detective Marcus Peña," Roberto said. "He investigated your wife's accident. He always suspected it wasn't accidental." Detective Peña was weathered, mid-50s, with kind eyes. "Mr. Martinez, your wife's case has haunted me. There were brake failure inconsistencies that never added up. With this evidence, I can reopen the investigation." James barely slept that week. He hired Dr. Rachel Flores, a trauma psychologist, and truly held his children for the first time since Sarah's death. After 4 sessions, Dr. Flores asked to speak privately. "Your daughter has severe trauma from Victoria's abuse, but there's something else extraordinary." "What?" "Sophia has hyperthymesia, highly superior autobiographical memory. She remembers every detail of every day with perfect clarity." Dr. Flores showed her notes. "I've tested her extensively. Fewer than 100 confirmed cases worldwide. But what's remarkable? She remembers the day her mother died with perfect clarity, including a conversation she overheard between her mother and Victoria the night before." James's heart stopped. "What conversation?" "You need to hear it from Sophia herself. But what your daughter remembers could be crucial evidence." That night, James sat with Sophia in her redecorated bedroom. "Sweetheart, Dr. Flores said you have special memory. You remember things most people forget." Sophia nodded. "I remember everything, Daddy. Sometimes I wish I could forget." "Dr. Flores said you remember the night before Mommy's accident. Could you tell me?" Sophia was silent, then spoke with unnervingly adult precision. "April 12th last year, Thursday. Mommy wore her blue dress. Victoria came at 8:37 p.m. I came to the kitchen at 8:52 p.m. They were in the living room. They didn't see me." She closed her eyes. Victoria said, "He'll never leave you for me while you're alive, Sarah. But accidents happen. Brake lines fail. Cars crash." James felt air leave his lungs. "What did Mommy say?" "Mommy said, 'Is that a threat?'" "I'll make sure James knows what kind of person you are. I know about you and Diego. I know everything." Sophia opened her eyes, bright with tears. Victoria laughed. She said, "Who will he believe? His devoted assistant of 3 years, or his paranoid wife?" She left at 9:07 p.m. Next morning, Mommy's car wouldn't start at first. 3 tries. She kissed me goodbye at 7:42 a.m. Gray suit, pearl necklace. Smelled like lavender. Her voice broke. At 8:15 a.m., police came. Mommy's brakes failed on Route 287. She hit the guardrail at 73 miles per hour. James pulled his daughter close as she cried. Silent, exhausted tears. "You've been holding this alone." "I'm so sorry. I tried telling police. They said I was just a confused kid." Next morning, James arrived at the precinct with Sophia, Dr. Flores, Detective Peña, and his attorney. Sophia recounted every detail with precision that stunned everyone. "Combined with security recordings and your daughter's testimony, we can bring Victoria in," Detective Peña said. "But proving she tampered with brakes will be difficult." "Then we'll make her confess," James said. "Whatever it takes." Victoria, desperate, was about to make a catastrophic mistake that would expose everything. The confrontation came fast. 1 week after receiving divorce papers, Victoria violated the restraining order by appearing at the Martinez gates with Diego. James got the alert at 9:23 a.m. "Let her in," James said slowly. "But Roberto, make sure all cameras record. Call Detective Peña. Tell him to come but stay hidden." 15 minutes later, Victoria strode into the foyer. She wore black Chanel, hair and makeup perfect. "James, we need to talk." James descended slowly. "You're violating a restraining order. This is ridiculous. You'll destroy our marriage over grainy footage and a disturbed child's fantasies? You abused my daughter. You abused my son. The evidence is overwhelming. Edited recordings and a 5-year-old's imagination. James, I'm your wife." From the stairs, Sophia appeared, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Victoria's eyes locked on the child, mask slipping. "You! This is all your fault." "Choose your words carefully," James interrupted. Victoria caught herself. "I meant misunderstood." Diego shifted. "Maybe we should go—" "Shut up, Diego," Victoria snapped, then realized her mistake. "I mean, honey," James raised an eyebrow. "Honey? Interesting term for my wife to use with another man. He's a friend providing support. Is that what you call planning to divorce me when our prenup expired? What you call murdering my first wife?" Silence. Victoria went pale. "That's insane. Sarah died in an accident." "Sophia heard you threaten Sarah the night before she died. She remembers every word." Victoria's eyes darted to Sophia. She was 4, 5, and she has hyperthymesia, perfect memory. The psychologist confirmed it. 2 neurologists confirmed it. Victoria looked genuinely shaken. Diego stepped back, pale. "Vic, you said Sarah's death was an accident." "It was," Victoria screamed. "The brakes failed." "Poorly investigated," Detective Peña said, stepping from the dining room. "But thanks to new evidence, we're reopening the case." Victoria whirled. "You can't prove anything." "Actually," Sophia's voice came from the stairs, "there is evidence. I remember something else from that morning." Every eye turned to the 5-year-old. "What did you see, sweetheart?" James asked. "After police told us about Mommy's accident, Victoria came. She was here at 9:47 a.m. She hugged you, Daddy. But when she walked past the garage, I was sitting on the steps. She didn't know I could see her. She looked at Mommy's toolbox and smiled." Sophia's voice never wavered. Then she took something from her purse. Small and silver. She wiped it carefully and put it back in the toolbox. Behind the wrenches in the back corner, Detective Peña was already calling for a warrant. Victoria's face went deathly pale. "She's making it up." "Children with hyperthymesia don't confuse anything," Dr. Flores said, emerging. "I've tested Sophia extensively. Her recall is 100% accurate." Diego backed toward the door. "I don't know anything about this." "You knew enough," James said coldly. Victoria stood motionless, composure broken. "You can't prove..." "Can't prove what?" James asked quietly. "That you sabotaged Sarah's brakes? Murdered my children's mother? I loved you." Victoria screamed. "I loved you for 3 years while I was your assistant. I watched you with her, and it was supposed to be me. I deserve to be Mrs. James Martinez. I deserve this house, this life." The confession hung like poison. Diego bolted. Peña's officers intercepted him. "You killed her because you wanted her life," James said, voice hollow. "She had everything." Victoria's voice broke. "You loved her. The children adored her. But I was by your side at the office. I should have been your wife from the beginning." "So you killed her, then tortured that child for nearly a year." Victoria realized what she'd admitted. "I want my lawyer." "You've said enough," Detective Peña replied, pulling out handcuffs. "Victoria Martinez, you're under arrest for suspected murder of Sarah Martinez and child abuse." As Peña read Victoria her rights, Sophia descended the stairs. She walked to her stepmother and said quietly, "My mommy was good. She didn't deserve what you did. Tommy and I didn't deserve it either. But it's over. You can't hurt us anymore." Victoria looked at the 5-year-old, and for an instant, something like shame crossed her face. Then cold fury. "You're just like her. Self-righteous and pathetic. Don't finish that," James warned, stepping between them. As police led Victoria away, James gathered both children. Is the bad lady gone? Tommy asked. Yes, champ. She's gone and never coming back. Sophia looked at her father. Daddy, is Mommy proud of me? For remembering? For telling the truth even though it was scary? James felt tears. Your mommy is so proud of you, Sophia. You were so brave. You protected your brother and helped catch who hurt Mommy. You're a hero. I just wanted everyone safe. You did nothing wrong. None of this was your fault, Detective Pena called that afternoon. They'd found evidence in Sarah's toolbox, a brake fluid bottle and siphon tool. Diego, facing accomplice charges, was cooperating with detailed knowledge of Victoria's plan. The case was solid. Victoria would spend life in prison. That night, tucking Sophia in, she asked, Daddy, why don't I forget? Why do I remember every bad thing? James brushed hair from her forehead. Your memory is a gift, even when it doesn't feel like it. Because of your gift, we caught who hurt Mommy. That's amazing. Will I always remember everything? Even the bad Victoria things? Probably yes. But you'll also remember every good moment from now on. Every happy day, every laugh, every time Daddy says he loves you. Over time, there'll be so many more happy memories that sad ones won't hurt as much. Promise? I promise. And I'm not going back to the office for a while. I'm staying home with you and Tommy. We're going to make lots of new happy memories together. Really? Sophia's face lit with hope. Really. You and Tommy are the most important things in the world. What James didn't yet know. Sophia's extraordinary gift would lead to a discovery that would change thousands of lives. 6 months after Victoria's arrest, life had transformed. Hallways vibrated with children's laughter. Sophia had gained weight. Her cheeks had color, and she smiled. Genuine, joyful smiles. Tommy, now almost 4, followed his sister everywhere. Sophie was his favorite word. But one October morning, Sophia was in the library reading a medical journal about Alzheimer's and memory disorders. Mrs. Chen found her absorbed. That's very advanced reading. Sophia looked up. It's about people who lose memories when they get older. She paused. Mrs. Chen, if I can remember everything, could my brain help people who can't remember anything? Mrs. Chen smiled indulgently. That's sweet, but medicine doesn't work that way. That night at dinner, Sophia asked, Daddy, can we visit a hospital? I want to see people with Alzheimer's. I had some ideas. Dr. Flores, now a regular dinner guest, raised her eyebrows. What kind of ideas? Sophia set down her fork. The article said Alzheimer's patients lose memories because protein plaques damage neuron connections. But my brain makes very strong connections. If doctors could study my brain, maybe they could figure out what makes my connections so strong and help people whose connections are breaking. Silence. The scientific reasoning was shockingly sound for a 6-year-old. The compassion was pure Sarah. Dr. Flores leaned forward. Sophia, that's actually a brilliant hypothesis. James felt a lump in his throat. That's incredibly thoughtful. But studying your brain would mean tests, MRIs, and scans. It might be scary. Sophia's expression didn't waver. Mommy used to say if you can help people, you should do it. Even if it's hard. Even if you're scared. I can help people, Daddy. My brain is different for a reason. 3 weeks later, James stood in Columbia Medical Center with Sophia, meeting Dr. Patricia O'Connor, one of the world's leading neuroscientists. Dr. O'Connor knelt to Sophia's level. Sophia, you have extraordinary memory and want to help us understand it? Sophia nodded. I remember everything. Dr. Flores says it's called hyperthymesia, and only a few dozen people in the world have it. Exactly right. And you think studying your brain could help us understand memory loss? I think my brain might show you what healthy memory connections look like. If you can see what makes my connections so strong, maybe you can figure out how to make other people's connections strong again. Dr. O'Connor looked at James with amazement. Your daughter just articulated fundamental comparative neuroscience. She's 6 and understands research methodology better than some graduate students. Over 3 months, Sophia underwent exhaustive testing. The results were astonishing. Her brain scans revealed neuronal connectivity Dr. O'Connor had never seen. The hippocampus showed activity patterns 400% more robust than normal. It's like her brain built highways where most people have back roads, Dr. O'Connor explained. Every experience creates multiple strong pathways. Can it help Alzheimer's patients? Dr. O'Connor's eyes lit up. Potentially revolutionary. Then came the discovery that changed everything. During a routine scan, Dr. O'Connor noticed something unusual in Sophia's cerebrospinal fluid. She repeated the test 3 times, then called an emergency meeting. Sophia's brain produces abnormally high levels of a protein we call neurotrophin 7, Dr. O'Connor said, voice tight with excitement. Is that dangerous? Dangerous? No, it's miraculous. Neurotrophin 7 actively repairs and strengthens neural connections. We isolated the protein and tested it on neural cells from Alzheimer's patients. She showed video of cells under microscope. These are diseased neurons. Now watch what happens when we introduce Sophia's neurotrophin 7. Damaged neural connections began regenerating. Broken pathways reformed. Dead-looking cells showed renewed activity. James stared in disbelief. My daughter's brain produces a compound that can reverse Alzheimer's damage? Sophia could be the key to curing one of medicine's most devastating diseases. If we can synthesize neurotrophin 7, we could help millions. That night, James told Sophia what Dr. O'Connor discovered. So my brain makes something that can help people not forget? Yes, sweetheart. Something very special. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. Mommy would be happy. She always said everyone has a purpose. Maybe this is mine. James hugged his daughter, overwhelmed. You don't have to do this. They'll need more tests. Sophia looked at her father with certainty. Daddy, I remember how it felt when Victoria hurt us. Every second of fear. I wouldn't wish those memories on anyone. But if I can use my different brain to help people keep their good memories, memories of people they love, then something good comes from me being different. Mommy's death, Victoria's abuse, maybe they happened so I could help people now. James felt tears. When did you become so wise? I've been thinking about it since I was 4. I just remember it all. The next 18 months became a whirlwind of research. Sophia, now 7, divided time between being a normal child and modern neuroscience's most important participant. By May, the research leaked to media. The story exploded. Within a week, the Martinez mansion was besieged by reporters, desperate families, even protesters. Dr. Flores had a suggestion. Let Sophia decide what we should do. They found Sophia in the library with Tommy. When she saw the adults enter, she stood. You want to talk about the reporters outside? James nodded. Amazed, I've been thinking about what to do. The reporters want a story about a miracle brain. If we hide, they'll make up stories. But if we tell them the truth, the real truth, maybe they'll understand that I'm not a miracle. I'm just different. And being different is hard, but it can help people. 3 days later, James held a press conference. Sophia sat beside him in a simple blue dress. James spoke first, providing facts. Sophia's hyperthymesia, her voluntary participation, the discovery of neurotrophin 7. Then he yielded the microphone. Sophia looked at the reporters. My name is Sophia Martinez. I'm 7 years old and I remember everything. Most people think that sounds like a superpower, but it's not always good. I remember every sad thing, every scary thing, every time I've been hurt. I can't forget anything. The room went silent. When I was little, my mommy died. Then my stepmother hurt me and my brother Tommy for a long time. I remember all of that perfectly, but I also remember that my mommy used to say, everyone has a purpose. For a long time, I didn't understand what mine could be. She paused. Then doctors discovered my brain makes something that could help people with Alzheimer's remember the people they love. And I finally understood. My brain is different for a reason. Not because I'm special, but because maybe what makes me different can help make other people's lives better. She looked at the cameras. There are people forgetting their children's names, their wedding day, all the happy moments that make life beautiful. If my different brain can help them keep those memories, then all the hard things I remember mean something. Something good can come from something bad. The press conference lasted 30 minutes. By the end, there wasn't a dry eye. After the cameras stopped, a woman approached with tears. My husband has Alzheimer's. Last week he forgot my name. We've been married 53 years. Sophia stood and took the woman's hand. What's your husband's name? Walter Herrera. I'll remember him, Sophia said softly. I'll remember that Walter Herrera has a wife who loves him so much. And I promise we're working as hard as we can to help people like Walter." The woman knelt and hugged Sophia, sobbing. 2 years later, on Sophia's 9th birthday, Dr. O'Connor arrived with news. "The FDA just approved the first round of human trials for synthetic neurotrophin 7, she said, voice thick with emotion. "We've successfully created a compound that mimics what your brain does naturally." 3 months later, Sophia stood in a hospital room holding the hand of 74-year-old Margaret Campos. After 3 months of treatment, Margaret's memory tests had improved 60%. "My dear," Margaret said, eyes clear, "do you know what you've given back to me? I can remember my granddaughter's wedding. I can remember my husband when we first met. I thought those memories were gone forever. But they're coming back," Sophia smiled through tears. "I'm so glad, Mrs. Campos. Everyone should keep their happy memories." Over the next year, the trials expanded. 200 patients, 500, 1,000. The results were consistent. Synthetic neurotrophin 7 didn't just slow Alzheimer's in early-stage patients, it reversed it. Martinez Pharmaceuticals became the most valuable pharmaceutical company in the world. James donated 90% of profits to research and care centers, establishing the Sarah Martinez Foundation for Memory Research. Sophia, now 10, became the youngest person ever nominated for a Nobel Prize in medicine. 5 years later, Sophia Martinez stood on stage at the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, accepting the Nobel Prize in Medicine alongside Dr. O'Connor. At 15, she was the youngest person in history to receive the honor. In her acceptance speech, Sophia spoke about memory, both as neurological phenomenon and profoundly human experience. "I remember the worst day of my life with the same clarity I remember the best day. My brain won't let me forget painful moments. But that means I can hold on to every good moment, every hug from my father, every laugh with my brother, every patient whose eyes light up when their memories return." She paused. "Some people say my memory is a gift. Others say it's a burden. I say it's both, and that's okay." Her eyes found her father in the front row, holding 18-year-old Tommy's hand. Both were crying with pride. "My mother, Sarah Martinez, used to tell me everyone has a purpose. It took me a long time to understand mine. I had to survive abuse, solve my mother's murder, and learn that being different doesn't mean being broken. But through all of that, I discovered our greatest struggles often prepare us for our greatest contributions." Sophia smiled. Pure Sarah Martinez, compassionate, strong, full of hope. The treatment derived from neurotrophin 7 has helped over 2 million people worldwide retain or recover their memories. 2 million families who don't have to watch their loved ones disappear. 2 million people who can remember their children, their spouses, the moments that make life worth living. Her voice rang clear. "I'll remember every one of their stories. Every letter, every thank you, every tear of joy when someone recognizes their child's face again. That's what my different brain is for. Not just to study, but to witness and honor the importance of memory itself." The standing ovation lasted 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Sophia would remember every moment, just as she remembered every moment of her life, painful and joyful, tragic and triumphant, all woven together in the extraordinary tapestry of a life lived with purpose. That night, in her hotel suite, Sophia sat with Tommy watching Stockholm's lights. "Sophie," her brother said, "do you ever wish you could forget the bad stuff?" Sophia thought about it, accessing memories of Victoria's cruelty and memories of joy. "No, because if I forgot the bad things, I might forget why the good things matter so much. Every memory I have made me who I am, and I kind of like who I am now." Tommy hugged his sister. "I'm glad you remember. You remember all the good things about Mom that I was too little to remember. You keep her alive for both of us." And that, Sophia realized, was perhaps the greatest purpose of all, being the living keeper of memory of the people she loved. Every story about Sarah Martinez, every moment of her mother's love, perfectly preserved in Sophia's extraordinary brain, ready to be shared whenever her brother needed to feel close to the mother he'd barely known. As she fell asleep that night, Sophia Martinez, survivor, Scientist, Nobel laureate, and most importantly, daughter and sister, held one final thought with perfect clarity. She would remember this day forever, and that was exactly as it should be.